I'm talking about bad things. Mistakes, no problem, because we can fix those and learn from them. All right, so first thing we are going to do is a math talk. I don't know if you remember the rules for how these go, but I'll remind you. You are to solve these problems without a calculator and without scratch paper. You might have already done because it's on your warm-up printed. Just I need you to do something while I got people started on their test. All right, but when you have an answer to the problem that I'm showing, you just put your thumb up. All right, don't shout it out, let everyone think about it, and then we'll go over it once I think enough time has passed. So first one, 25% of 200, put your thumb up when you have an answer to that. No headphones. All right, Landon, what'd you get? 50, anyone get something different? All right, and how'd you go about figuring that out?
I first found was 1%.
You found what 1% of 200 is? And then multiply percent by 2. Okay. Any other strategies that someone did to solve it? I heard tons of different ones. Yes. Okay, so 4 25s in 100, 8 25s in 200. Two of those would be 2 25 equals 50. All right, any other ways? Did anyone do it in their head like this? The 200 times 0.25. Anyone? That is something you could have done, but anything else? Yes. 200 divided by 4, and why by 4? Good, because 25% is equal to 1/4. So tons of different strategies. And we got the same answer, which is the correct question. Where? So multiply percent by 2. So because 1% of 200 is 2. If we multiply the percent by 2, that gives us the 50. All right, next one. Again, just sum up when we have an answer. All right. Jalen, 24, and you will get something different. And how'd you go about getting 24? So 2 times 24, because of this, I'll kind of put an arrow to it, but that's why we did that. Or not 2 times 24, 2 times is. Good. Any other strategies out there? All right, let's see the next one. % of 200. Sum up what we have. All right, Amari. 16, and how do you find that? 2 times 8 is 16. Any other strategies? All right, last one. So sum up when you have an answer. P% of 200. Nobody has not seen it. Does someone have their sum up? Well, think about what strategy consistently worked in the first 3. All right, some of you said like broke it down kind of like quarters. Some of you said like 25% is equal to 1/4. Would those 2 strategies work with the rest of these?
No.
No, but which one consistently work?
First one.
So multiplying by 2, right? 2 times 25% is 50, because you know 25% of 100 is 25. So just multiply it by 2. 12 times 2 is 24. 8 times 2 is 16. So if it's P%, what's gonna be my answer? P multiplied by 2. Or you can write it as 2P, which is like the more popular. And you'll see why later on. All right, but that's it. So P% of 100 would be P, so P% of 200 would be 2P. All right, good. So that is our math talk. That kind of leads into what we're doing today. So let's go over the slide. The goal is to look at how equations can help us describe relationships and constraints. And then to know you're successful is if you can tell which quantities in a situation can vary and which ones cannot. And to use letters and numbers to write equations representing situations. So I'm recording now. It'll be linked here. If I find another video that's helpful, I'll also link it in here, but I'm sure you can also do a quick search and find it yourself. The practice will be a puzzle piece. I want to give you a good chunk of time on it. So there's some things that are like on your note sheet that we might not do, and that's totally fine. Because after going through it first hour, I was like, do we really need to do that part? No, I'd rather you practice while I'm here to help you with it. So it might be a little bit different than what we did first hour. Just know that the binder check number 1, if you haven't turned it in, you need to turn it in soon. And not while I'm teaching, but basically any other time after that, you can show it to me. And, or you can upload it to school. Like I've had some kids just take it on themselves and do that. And that's works totally fine. It should boost your grade. For some of you, if you got a low score on it, then it hurts your grade. It's not meant to do that. It's supposed to help you. So, plus your unit 1 test score will be in soon after we've taken it. You know, and that is supposed to kind of cushion that to do that. So keep that in mind. Make sure we're keeping track of our notes for the upcoming binder check. Since unit 2 is so large and like chunk it, haven't decided yet, but we'll see. So unit 2 is pretty large, as you can see by like the test schedule. Our quiz for unit 2, at least lessons 1 through 5, is going to be this coming Monday. All right, and then you should have quizzes about every 5 lessons according to this. And it, again, the intention is to give you more practice, more points in the assessment category is always better, because then if you get 1 bad test, it really doesn't make that big of a difference when there's a lot of stuff in there. So just make sure you're staying on top of things, that if you're not understanding your practice, that you ask questions. And then everything else is mostly to be determined. But that first quiz is coming up on Monday. So that is a pretty sure thing. Questions on that? Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry, I was looking at it wrong. It should be September 12th. Thank you. I'll fix that right now. All right, but other than that, so you should expect this unit to have a lot more quizzes in it as like checkpoints. So if you're not doing well on the quizzes, that's like your hint that maybe you should either ask more questions in class, come to tutoring on Wednesdays, something to make sure that we're keeping those grades solid. Once everyone's score is in the grade book for their unit 1 test, we can talk about remediation and stuff. All right, but back to the lesson. So we're gonna kind of skip this part. We're gonna go straight into the blueberries and earnings. Now, the note sheets you notice are different. We're gonna try these ones and see if they're better for us. I have not been making them, I don't have time to, but I've been using what other teachers make, and like, you know, sometimes they work really great, sometimes they don't, we'll make adjustments. Just know that like, most of what we do is meant to be like talked about and discussed, versus like making sure we're writing everything down in the right spot. I wanted to turn into like us making sure that we're just like, where do I write this? Like that's not the purpose. All right, but you'll notice on your note sheets, like the front will have the warm up, the lesson synthesis, which is usually like at the end of the lesson, and the cool down. All right, so now the cool downs for this unit are going to be on the front of the note sheet. The back is going to be like our activities, if we do activities on like, some of them we're not doing the Platonic relationship, but we are going to do the blueberries and earnings. So that's on the back of your sheet. If you want to follow along and take notes, this is on the back of your sheet. All right, but the goal today is basically to translate expressions. So we have to write an equation to represent each situation. What do equations have in them? Equal signs. So every single one of these should have an equal sign in them. Not an inequality sign, not a greater than or less than symbol. It wants an equation. So first, we have blueberries are $4.99 a pound. Diego buys B pounds of blueberries and pays 14.95. Don't call out the answer. All right. If I were to write this as an equation, what are we making it equal to? Yes, Jalen? 14.95. And that represents what? The total cost. So anything like total cost wise is right next to the equal sign. On the other side is what contributed to that cost. So what contributed to this cost? The $4.99, what else? The B, which stands for pounds of blueberries. What operation would I put between these? Would I add them? Would I subtract them, multiply them, divide them? Because if he buys 1 pound, how much is that? If he buys 2 pounds, how much is that? 700. Not good at messing up. It's like $9.98.
Oh, nice.
That makes sense. And then 3 pounds, so we're multiplying each time, right? So that makes sense. This is a good answer. Questions on the first one? Now, part B, we have blueberries are $4.99 a pound. Jada buys 3 pounds of blueberries and pays $3. How would we write that equation? This time you can follow it out. what variable are they using for the pounds of blueberries this time? Is it still gonna be multiplied by the 4.99? Yeah. So also like a side note, anytime it's like per pound, per person, each day, every week, something like that, is multiplication. So yeah, 4.99 P. And then what else would be there? Equals C. So this time, we don't know how much total she takes. So we're labeling it a variable, and they told us to label it with C. Question so far? Do you think you guys can try C through F on your own, and then we can go over them? All right, so try that. I'll give you about 2 minutes. Remember, equation should have equal signs. Think about what operations you need. You have 4 options: adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. All right, so part C. Blueberries are $D a pound. Lynn buys Q pounds of blueberries and pays T dollars. What equation can we make out of that? Yes?
D multiplied by Q equals T.
DQ equals T. Because what operation is going on when they're smushed together like that? Multiplication. So if it's like numbers and letters, you don't have to put the multiplication sign in the middle. If it's letters and letters, you don't have to put the multiplication sign in the middle. If it's numbers and numbers, then yeah, you do. Or put one of them in parentheses or something. All right, but good. Any questions? Anyone do something different? That works. Part B, Noah earned N dollars over the summer. My earned $275, which is 45 more than Noah did. What did you get, Jalen? 275 minus 45 equals M. Anyone get something different? Landon, what'd you get?
Plus 45 equals 75.
Is there multiple ways to write something and it still be true? Yes, because all we care about is that the left side of the equal sign is equal to the right side. So if M is for my, her earnings would be. Hold on. Sorry. In this first one, should it be equal to N or M? Okay, sorry, I must have misheard. That's why I was thrown off. All right, so 275 minus 45 equals N. That would tell me how much Noah made. This N plus 45 equals 275. It's kind of like adding 45 to each side. It still makes it equal. These are equivalent equations. Questions on D? All right, E. So Noah earned V dollars over the summer. My earned M dollars, which is $45 more than Noah did. What did we put for the equation? Hands, please. Amari. So I didn't quite hear that. I heard V. So there's no X in this one. We're looking at part E. Use the variables that they established. Ryan, did you have something? M minus 45 equals V. Is that correct? Is there another way we could write that? Good. A really great test question, even though we're not really on that lesson yet. would be to have you, instead of where it solves for what Noah made, it wants you to solve for what my made. So it wants like the M isolated versus the V. All right, last one. Noah earned W dollars over the summer. My earned X dollars, which is Y dollars more than Noah did. What'd you guys get? Jalen? X minus Y equals W. We'll see if that's right. Give me 1 second. Yes. Yes. X minus Y equals W. Is there another way we could have wrote it? W plus Y, is that what you said? That would be correct. All right, so again, great test question would be solve this equation for X. And just like you would with numbers, and I know we haven't gotten there yet, but we will. Instead of subtracting Y, you would add Y on each side to cancel it out. Now the X is by itself, and the W has a plus Y. So good. Any questions on how we figured that out? Or why there is more than one correct way of doing things? All right, we're not gonna answer this part, but it says, or maybe we will. How are the equations you wrote for the blueberry purchases like the equations you wrote for my and Noah's summer earnings? How are they different? Or just anything that you're observing, I will entertain. So they talk about different things. What's something that they have in common? They all have an answer. So we're talking about what's similar between all of these. They all use variables, right? What are variables? The letters, don't they all use variables? And don't they all start with like mostly numbers and then end up becoming all variables? But can't you still tell me like what each part means? Like what does the X mean down here? That who earned? Mine. So this would be an equation to show me what my earned. How can I find out what Noah earned? The W equals equation. All right. So good stuff there. Questions on this process? So if we go back to our learning target. So if you can tell which quantities in a situation can vary and which ones cannot, which actually will be the pull down, then you'll be successful. And then using letters and numbers to write equations representing situations. All right, or representing relationships. That we just did some examples. And you'll practice more on it. But you have a pull down on the front of your note sheet. I want you to answer that. Give it like about 2 or 3 minutes before we go over it. And then if you finish it, I want you to start working on your puzzle sheets while we make you go over it. That way you have a good chunk of time in class to work on. School choir needs to make t-shirts for its 75 members and set aside some money in their budget to pay for them. The members of the choir decided to order from a printing company that charges $3 per shirt, plus a $50 fee for each color to be printed on the shirt. So first thing we're gonna do is write an equation. What do equations have? Equal signs in the first part of the word, equal. So it means have an equal sign, not an equality or anything. Write an equation that represents the relationship between number of t-shirts ordered, the number of colors on the shirts, and the total cost of the order. If you use a variable, specify what it represents. So what if, don't tell me the whole equation, tell me something that needs to be in the equation. 75. What do we do with that 75? It represents the members times what? So we're buying t-shirts. Do we know how much each t-shirt costs? $3. So if I have 75 members and I know each shirt will be $3, what operation is that? Multiplication would tell me how much it costs for each shirt. Good thing about it, per person, each day, each week, whatever it is, each dog, that's multiplication. So I would have to take 3 times the number of members total, and that would give me how much it is for that shop. But are there any other fees associated with the cost of the shirt? The $50 fee for each color to be printed on the shirts. Would that add to our costs? Would it subtract from it? So I'm gonna put plus 50, because that's what the fee is, but it's for each color to be printed on the shirt. Do we know how many colors they're going to have? So that's our unknown. What do we label our unknown? A variable. What variable do you want to use? All right, and then we just need to define our variable. So C is for number of colors to be printed on the shirt. So that's what I have so far. Let me make it look a little nicer. And that's going to equal what? So I heard T, I heard X, both are fine. What does it represent? The total cost, right? You could use X too. So I'm gonna use T for total cost, kind of make it easier on it. Is that all we need in the equation? Does that tell me how much it'll cost? Yes. Again, we can't tell you for sure what it costs because I don't know how many colors we need. But if I did, we just plug it in, do the math, and know it is. So then the part 2, in this situation, which quantities do you think can vary? What does vary mean? That's like when we were talking about data distribution, so that's good. But just when I say like something can vary, something can be different. So what quantities can be different if I wanted them to be? The number of colors, so like a C, which is for the number of colors. The T, the total cost. Because again, that depends on however many colors I use. Anything else? So basically anything with a variable, I would put that. Anything that is a variable. And vary, that's why we call them variables. So then which items are fixed in our equation? The number of members. Now, my first hour I said that the number of members could be variable, because maybe some people can quit. That is a true statement. But it's technically fixed. They said that they have 75 members, so we're gonna go with that. What else is fixed? The cost per shirt, which is the $3. And anything else? The fee for the color, which we definitely know is the. All right, so again, anything that is not a variable is technically fixed unless something weird changes, but usually technically fixed. All right. I would say mostly these two down here. Because while, yeah, like the number of members could change, their fees aren't changed. That's what they said they would. Questions on the lesson today, good? All right, so I did cut out like some parts, so I know like the platonic relationships we didn't do, that's fine. I want you to have more time to practice. That gives you almost 20 minutes to work on your practice. I expect you to be working on it and ask me questions if you're confused. So on Friday, I gave you guys some stuff to do. I didn't just give you a free day. So on Friday, you had a lesson to watch, a note sheet to fill out, and a practice to do. If you didn't do it for some reason, I mean, you do have time because it's unit 2 now, technically not due until the unit 2 test, but don't wait too long. The instructions were here for what you're supposed to do. Watch the video. You can watch this short one that I provided if you wish. Take notes. If you didn't grab the note sheet, just take notes on your own paper. But you're going to take a picture of that note sheet and upload it. Because whenever I'm absent, that's how I know that you like made up the lesson. Since I wasn't here to directly teach it to you. So you watch it, take notes, upload it. That should be an easy 10-point homework grade. And then you have that puzzle piece practice from Friday. So just get that done if you haven't already. Today we did lesson 2.